So let's talk about that. So
Uh-oh.
that's the thing. Is it an uh-oh? Today we talk about is it a big deal?
It's not really like a terrible thing. I think everybody just wanted to part their own ways.
Guys, because so just to fill the audience in and some background. So when I first caught wind of you was on this United Souls type of series, and then Dan Tier Zero was again one of these YouTubers that was very bare bones, just talking about sneakers he liked, and a lot of it wasn't your traditional hype stuff. It was like a lot of Kith stuff, and that was kind of his lane. And that was kind of cool to see, especially because as I was learning more about Kith, I wanted to find more videos about Kith, and he was one of the only ones covering those kinds of sneakers.
Well, Paulie too. Paulie was doing like early on like salmon toe before.
Oh right, I saw his video about it. Yeah, but he didn't have his own channel, right? It was really just Dan that was doing his own thing.
What was the name of his channel? Oh my god,
I think it was just Dan Tier Zero.
No,
right?
it was like, so he had this hip hop channel that he used to produce, and I forget the name of it. I'm drawing a blank on it, but he started doing reviews on that channel also.
Okay.
And you would find like salmon toe. What the hell was the name? It's gonna bother me now that I know the name of his radio channel. But anyway.
That's right. If you remember later, we'll give it to John to plug in.
I'll shoot it to you. I'll find it actually. Now it's gonna bother me. But yeah, so we did like salmon toes and like 2 other shoes, and then I started rolling into and I went back and found those after we started because we linked at Kith releases.
Right. So you met him before the YouTube stuff. You met him in person.
He might have been doing the YouTube stuff already. I don't know, but like I know that I met him through sneaker releases, like
in-person
Campouts
stuff.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So and then yeah, just throughout the course of those videos, I noticed that they were doing these United Souls type videos and these debates, which were also kind of fun. And then it was sometimes you would make guest appearances. KB actually I saw in a couple of those videos.
KB wound up like. Well, same thing with the breakdown. Like she comes for an episode, for like and doesn't go anywhere. So the same thing we United, but it was cool though because it's a nice dynamic to have like the male perspective and the female perspective. But it winds up being the same thing anyway. Like if something's dope, it's dope no matter who's viewing it.
So then, So what happened with that? So you like it just falling out of like just people wanting to go their own ways, but it's not even like they're doing their own thing anymore. I don't see them very active much.
So like in real time, what had happened was we were doing a studio in Jersey where we were shoot like every other Sunday. So we would, I would drive out to Jersey, we would do that, and then we had the Sneakermon battle. That was like another thing that we were doing.
Oh yeah.
And then I was like, all right, well next season we got to switch it up because I don't want to drive to Jersey every other Sunday. So I wound up doing it in Queens, and then it became like it was just a lot. Everybody's busy, everybody's things going on, and it was just like, all right, I'm over it. I wasn't over it, obviously, but it just came to the point where everybody was like, all right, Dan was doing his thing. I want to say Paulie was doing his thing too. Kristen was doing her thing. And I was like, all right, well, when I started the breakdown, it was like the next week. I was like, I don't care if anybody's on it. I just like doing the show. So I'm just going to keep doing it. So it was like a smooth transition, and that was it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's
Josh too. I forgot about Josh.
Which one was Josh?
Josh was the skinny guy. Spanish, dark skin.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Josh was like, I think he was on it the whole time almost. Yeah, it was on it the whole time. So it was Paulie, Dan, Josh, myself, and then after like the first season, Kristen was in.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now it's been a while since I even watched one of those, and some of them are hard to watch, man, because the audio is so bad. The visuals are obviously not holding up for 4K standards now, so it's kind of a shame. But yeah, it's like one of those timeless things as far as like my memories of learning about sneakers. Like a lot of it came from those kinds of things because you guys were definitely covering certain topics that like no one else was covering.
A vast majority of topics.
Yeah. Yeah,
everything evolves.
Exactly. So let me ask also about your Campouts line, I guess. So like you how long has this been going on?
Oh, so back to Paulie again. So like I met Paulie, he was doing the similar thing for Kith, or that's basically what he was doing in a different way. I'll leave it at that. And then as like the transition from the United Souls happened, like we'd become cool. Like I never went out there to be like, oh, I'm gonna be cool with people so I can get shoes. Like I was a grown adult. I had a whole career before I went back into doing shoes again.
Right.
And it was one of those situations where it was like, all right, I'm cool with you. We're cool. And then I would do lineups until he showed up and then so on and so forth. And like through that, you build a relationship. Everything is time. Not like you get in there and it's instant gratification like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, right.
And after like a year and a half or so, like I was cool with the guys at Kith. I was cool with the guys at Butter. Like I'm an easygoing person. Like I'll talk to anybody. I don't care. So after United Souls had finished, he was basically leaving the sneaker scene. And they were like, well, do you mind doing it? And I was like, yeah, sure, I don't mind doing it. I'm already here doing it as it is. So, and then it just kind of picked up from that. And that was probably like 19? That's got to be like 2015, around there. So for like 5 years.
Is this mostly just Kith?
So mostly Kith. I was doing Supreme. I would go out there super early before they even started doing the security system thing. Concepts when they first opened up. Extra buttering the times that they would need it. If I was there. But realistically, I was camping out for myself. It was big. The 25th anniversary for ASICS was big that year. So like I was at every shoe release because I wanted it for myself. And they were like, well, if Mike's there, I'm going to go because I know it's going to be organized and it's going to be fair. I don't have to worry about people coming at 6 a.m. and cutting. And the stores were like going by it also. So it just worked out for everybody. Like, oh, Campouts there. We're good to go.
Right.
So, and it just kind of stayed that way.
Gotcha. So whatever happened to the app? Because you were trying to streamline that into
if you know a developer that wants to come on board.
So you haven't even developed the app yet?
No. The app has been fully developed. I used it for the Off-White release of the Converse. I believe it was the first one. And the way that they made me use it, if you guys are familiar with the app or unfamiliar, basically you get a bar or a QR code based on your personal settings. You get to a release. The store has the event set up. You scan in. Your name now pops up on a list. You can either randomize it via the store or the store can keep it as a first come, first serve, yada, yada, yada. They wanted to do this whole other thing where I notify people. Anyway, they screwed my whole setup up to something that they wanted to use. And then in the interim of going back to the other way, like things got crossed. My developer wasn't the best developer, and it took them too long as it was. So like right now I'm on hiatus.
Gotcha.
So
So
funding,
if any
funding. No.
any budding developers out there that want to help out, definitely reach out. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I wish that was a strength of mine, but sadly it is not.
I went to the class. I went to Pace. Like I can code. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, no,
I do not want to do
it's
that.
Not my speed. But let's see. The other thing I want to ask you about was as far as boutiques. I know you've had problems with Supreme in the past, and qualms with them,
Packers,
and
Supreme, A-Life, you name it.
Yeah. So, like with Kith, how's the relationship with Kith lately? Because I know, at least from watching the show of late, you guys have been feeling a lot of what Kith has been doing compared to their older stuff. But I mean, how much of that is just natural progression of their brand and what they're trying to do versus your taste and taste
I think
changing?
it's a little bit of both. It's definitely a little bit of both. Like, I mean, me personally, like I like everybody in the store. It has nothing to do with a personal relationship. Like I'm cool with probably 90% of everybody in Kith. But at the same time, as a person who buys product, I would like to see certain things, like anybody would like to see certain things from brands that they've always messed with. Like you said that you liked Kith from early on. You liked the runner stuff. If they brought that back, would you be upset?
No.
Exactly. But the progression of like the way it's going now is you can see, like with everything, you progress. Like you might start off bad at YouTube like myself, and then you progress to a little bit better and a little bit better, a little bit different. And like some people who originally liked you aren't going to like you anymore because they like that pure form of YouTube.
Right.
It's the same thing. But I mean, the relationship is always going to be the relationship.
Gotcha. Yeah, I get a lot of flack for, not a lot of flack, but my views haven't been as good ever since I started doing more of a podcast format as opposed to like
your spicy chip challenge. Like, I mean, it's definitely different, but like you grow.
Yeah, it's like it's just an evolutionary type of thing. Not that I don't like those kinds of things, but there's so many factors like incorporating more comedy. The amount of work I'm doing when I'm out in Iowa. I'm just exhausted when I get home. Daylight's gone, I can't use that. And then when I get back here, I'm so exhausted from the 2 weeks I was working. I'm just like, oof, I just want to play PlayStation and just like not talk to fucking anybody. You know
relax.
What I mean? Yeah. So it's a lot. But and then add in the editing and all this other stuff. So luckily with the help of these other resources, it's opening me back up to do those kinds of things. But I'm just trying to find a new balance of like, how do I like kind of get everything to kind of flow? Yeah, dude, it's key. But let's see, what else is on the horizon for you?
So I just kicked off a podcast with.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, so like that's been like 6 months in the making. I don't know if anybody remembers, but Jeff had put out like a tweet looking for a host for a new show on Hypebeast. Jeff Staple.
Yeah, does he own Hypebeast? Because I see his photo on one of them.
I don't know what's going on with that. I just know that they asked me to come shoot. So I was like, all right, listen, that's what you want me to do. That's what I'm coming to do. But so like he was basically heading up the I guess the radio department because he has a show on there also.
Yes, I saw his thumbnail.
I want to say he produces maybe some of the other podcasts that do come out as far as the content. So I don't know what his involvement is 100%, but I just know that he hit me up or responded to me because I was like, I just threw it out there. I was like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, I believe. So I threw it out there. He hit me back. He's like, yeah, come in for a pilot. We did the pilot, and that was probably like 5 or 6 months ago.
So that wasn't what is available now?
So I shot that last week. So shout out Christina Hong. She edited super fast. She's one of the other producers that takes care of the radio stuff, but she's fantastic. Anyway, a couple months go by, and I was like, hey, Jeff, just wondering what's going on with that podcast. And he was like, oh, no, we're working on stuff. We're doing like transit. I was like, okay, cool. Just checking it. I didn't want to make it seem like I didn't care.
Right.
I didn't want to also seem like, guy, I want to get on this podcast. I want to do. It's got to be chill.
Yeah.
So he hits me back maybe like 3 weeks ago. It's like, hey, we need your headshot because we're going to get going. We need this information, that information. I was like, all right, cool. So then I drop in Friday. Friday was the only day. I was supposed to go on Thursday. Went in Friday. We shot the episode, and that was it. Simple, nice and easy. The editors are mad cool. Not everybody's as comfortable behind a mic. I'm pretty sure you've experienced that.
Yeah.
You're a little nervous. Plus, you have to make them feel comfortable.
Right.
Like you don't want to sit down and like interview someone and you're like, so yes, no. All right, have a good day. Yeah, nobody wants that. So you get there's certain personality traits that you need to carry over, or you need to be as a personality doing, especially speaking.
Yep.
Keep people engaged is difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's dope. I like the layout, and the best part about it is I don't have to bullshit, so to speak. I don't know, am I allowed to curse on this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I don't have to follow their set course of action. So obviously, Hypebeast, High Snowball, they all get paid by brands to promote their stuff, like any major business or whatever. So he was like, listen, I want you to be you and we'll be us. So they come in from their perspective, which is their perspective. They obviously have to be a little bit more.
I feel like you didn't talk too much on that episode, though.
It was light. It was very light based on the topics, though. Like I don't want to drag it out for no reason.
Right.
It can be short. It can be short. And if it needs to be long, it'll go long. Like Bob from Sneakers, I can do that for an hour.
Right.
Easy.
Yeah.
So always talk about collaborations. I'll do that for 2 hours.
Is this going to be like a weekly thing? Or?
Yeah. So right now it is the Hype Report. It's supposed to be a weekly thing. Every either I think Saturday or Monday is when it's going to drop. But I guess once we get into like a more uniform setup, I'll know more specifics. Gotcha. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's the space like for that? Because
like
I mean.
This.
No, I meant not physical. More like the how many more podcasts are we going to have about hype this and sneaker release this and that and that? Because there are a number of them, right?
That's a great question.
So what's differentiating you guys?
So I listened to a few of them just to get a vibe for like what the market is, or like what's really going on behind the scenes. You can listen to more underground stuff like The Breakdown, which is obviously not as mainstream, or you can listen to something like I'm trying to think of another good one. I can't think of it.
Yeah, do you have a favorite? A go-to podcast?
So I listen to The Business of Hype quite a bit, and that's not a shameless plug for Jeff at all. I just like that podcast just because it's usually someone that I am familiar with, and I don't know their backstory, or I want to know more about their backstory. So it's like, all right, I'm going to listen to that, and then an hour and 45 minutes go by, and I'm on my second one, or I'll go listen to one that I've already heard. It just doesn't make it. But I want to learn something. I don't want to just hear opinions per se. Like you know what I'm saying?
Like a ESPN First Take type of shit?
Yeah, exactly. So like I try to steer towards that kind of stuff. I do like Foamy's podcast, even though it's like 2 guys or 3 guys really bullshitting.
Right.
Like I enjoy their rhetoric, which is another thing too. So like it's like I said before, it's about personality. So if I can vibe with you via your voice and your content, I'll stay there. I'm listening to.
That's fair.
Plus it's in the car. Like who doesn't?
Actually, yeah. Are you driving around everywhere? Did you drive here?
Hell no.
Okay.
So like I hate driving.
Me too.
So let's get that out. Right off the bat, I hate driving, especially in Manhattan. Horrible.
One of my least favorite things to do.
I love the train. You see that little bag right there? I got my my AirPods are in there. My iPod Pro is in there. So if I got to do work, boom, emails pull up, sync it to the phone. We're good to go. That's how I live.
Dope.
That's my life. You need me?
Right. And I feel like this is, it made so much sense the first time I heard it, but it's now that I know about it, it's just like, duh. Like the fact that like sneaker culture in New York is so. Not intense. What's the right word? It's just like it's such a thing because like your sneakers are your car. Like that's what you're.
Yes.
That's what you're walking around in all day on the train from here to A to B to C. You're not like in a car all day like you would be in the suburbs, like where I grew up. So like sneakers would carry more weight because that's kind of like you rolling up with a new hoopty.
Shitty part about that is not everybody cares about that.
Oh, of course not.
Especially like, oh, those shoes are amazing. They're great. They're great for walking. Yeah, but they go for $600. So I'd rather sell them. Like that. That's like the world that is New York.
Right.
Most people don't understand. Like I get that resale is a thing everywhere because you can do secondary market. You could do from your couch in Iowa. It doesn't make a difference. Where as long as you're getting the product into you, who cares what you do with it?
Right.
But here is definitely a different beast because there's so many different locations that you can attain from. So,
Yeah.
New York.
Meh is the exact answer.
Yeah.
Like it's starting to get old for me too, man. Like I'm just thinking like, fuck, man, I have a whole room that I'm paying rent for.
Don't you dare.
For sneakers.
Don't you dare. I don't even like where you're going with this right now.
No, I'm not saying I'm going to sell them, but I'm just
old
like.
for you. It's so early. This is way too early for you.
What do you mean early?
It's like early in your sneaker career.
Oh, I know that, but what I'm saying is like sometimes it feels like a burden. It's just like when I first moved here, the entire U-Haul was just the sneakers. Like I didn't have furniture. This all came after, right? So like I
remember your first couple of photos.
Yeah, I rented a U-Haul just to put the sneakers in there, and it was such a bitch moving those things up here alone, just that. And then now
you didn't put them in container store stuff. You did just straight up
just the
boxes.
IKEA shelves.
Yeah.
And then And then ordering those and the hassle of setting those up. And I'm just like, all right, well, if I ever move, this is going to be quite the fucking process. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and on top of that, it's like, I'm not here half the time. Then the sneakers are just sitting here. I only have 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just
How much
like,
can you wear?
you know, and it's just like, and I know no one cares. Like, no one really cares all that much. So it's just like, what am I doing this for? You know?
It's you. You're doing, like, so obviously we have the same issue. I have a room full of shoes. Yeah. They're all in Container Store boxes. No shameless plug on that, by the way. But it's very organized. If I have to move, they fit all inside of one box. Not all the shoes in one box, but like 6 at a time fit in a box. So you can condense it pretty well. Right.
But my point is like I'm, and again, grass is always greener, right? Like people are looking at me like, fuck, this asshole's got every shoe I've ever wanted. Off willy-nilly. But meanwhile, I'm thinking like, oh man, it would be cool just to have like a tight rotation of 4 sneakers. Keep my life just simple.
You cannot do 4.
I can't anymore, but I'm saying like I wish I could go back to those times.
All right.
You know?
Let's temperature.